Hello, friends, and welcome to Rise Up in Real Estate, where we are on a quest. We are looking for the extra in the ordinary. And I'm Tad Fulford, and I will be your host on this journey where we will take an honest look at what makes ordinary people extraordinary. Exactly how can we be extra in our personal and our professional lives? In this season of the Rise Up in Real Estate adventure, there will be a monthly rhythm, meaning each month we will have 4 unique episodes. In one episode, we'll tackle a pressing current real estate industry thought. In another, we will chat with a local difference maker in the real estate space. For our 3rd episode, we will host a respected national thought leader. And finally, we will have a 4th bonus and surprise episode. And in each episode, we will be digging into not only what those people think, but who those people are. Along the way, it's my hope that you'll laugh some, you'll be challenged some, you will get inspired some, and if we are lucky, maybe even figure out a way or two you can rise up in your own life and be the best human that you can be. So the challenge is, let's all rise up. Hey, Rise Up Nation, welcome back. We're excited to have you here again for another edition of Rise Up in Real Estate. And this is a special edition. We don't do this very often, but because the show's been going on about 3 years, I guess. And I have a repeat guest for the first time. It's actually the first time this has ever happened. But I felt like this was something prudent to do because this dear friend of mine is so special and got such an incredibly unique story that I asked Pam Krigbaum if she would join us again and talk. So today, you're lucky. You get to hear Miss Pam. Pam, how are you today?
I am great. How's everybody out there?
I think everybody's doing good now that they hear your voice. So you were on the show, has it been over a year ago now, right? Just at a year?
Close, yes. Yeah.
And we are in the coastal region of South Carolina, for those of you that are listening all over the place. And this podcast is supposed to be about real estate. But you know what's interesting, Pam? This has ended up, my podcast has ended up in the self-help section, which is not a surprise.
Not a surprise.
Because what's important to us is a story and connection. And your episode was actually the most listened to episode of the, 100 that we've done. I mean, I don't know, over time. And I think it's because of the story, your story, right? So I want to just say, I want to ask how you're doing. Like, give me an update. Pam, tell us your journey briefly, and then we'll dive into like what you're going through now and have some conversations.
Okay, journey briefly. If y'all listened a year ago, I guess, I was diagnosed in 2019 with stage 4 breast cancer. Was told 25 to 35% chance to make it 6 months. Obviously, I did. And actually, on the last podcast, I told you I was cancer-free. So that was whatever, I think October, something like that. And in February of this year, I got a surprise. So I was told I wasn't cancer-free this time, and actually it was not good. So I was actually given a hard 3 months, possibly 6, to still be here, which I'm here. So, let's just end it at that as far as that part goes, because don't listen to what doctors say, right? I'm here and I'm doing good. I mean, I have chemo every week except for 1 week a month, and that's about all I can do. It's spread to my liver, but it's not liver cancer, it's breast cancer. And so for those who don't know, breast cancer in the liver is not the same as liver cancer, and so it cannot be treated the same. So there's no surgery, there's no rejuvenation. It's what it is, and we got to try to shrink it. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, so there's so many lessons in this, Pam, and I know we'll get to a bunch of them. You mentioned just a few minutes ago that you're doing a few walks coming up.
I am.
Tell me about those walks. Tell us when I don't know when this will air. I might air it next Monday if we can. But tell me what you're being involved in right now.
Okay, so this Saturday, the 30th, coming up, there's a walk in Barefoot Landing, and it actually helps 2 local charities here, and one of them actually helping right now. I'm working with. It's called the Caring for Cancer people, and they're great. They financially help people and all, and I just got hooked up with them, kind of help them with the board and help them do things. So I'm trying to get the word out more for them. So I'm walking, which I'm going to try to walk. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to walk very fast, but I'm walking. And then on the 7th of October is the Tidelands walk, which if you have ever been a Tidelands patient, breast cancer patient with that wonderful, wonderful organization, so I'm going to say it is for them. And it actually, the money raised there helps pay for mammograms for women that cannot afford it. So I'm walking, obviously, in honor of all the women out there and myself. So come out. If you need any information, let me know. It is on the websites. I know Tideland is still, obviously, taking walkers, and so is the one for this weekend. So.
Very interesting. So there's something to that story that we'll get to in a second. But you found out this next bit of news in February of 2023?
I did. Actually, I found out I was having trouble breathing. And so we thought it was from the chemo, because chemo can cause that. And so they had done scans on me, and literally I was shopping with one of our lovely agents for our wonderful awards banquet. We had our awards night, and I got the call that it wasn't my heart, that there was a huge tumor and that they needed to see me like immediately. So.
Right. So they brought you in right away. And wasn't that before we went to R4?
Yes.
So you went ahead and went to Vegas.
It was February 10th. When I found out the news. So, yes. And I was already set to go to Vegas. I hadn't been feeling good, so I should have listened to myself, but I didn't. But I could not miss Vegas. So, yeah, I did not do it, obviously, the way I wanted to do it. I had to rest some, but it was great. I can't miss Vegas. Not that it's Vegas. I swear to you, to this day, I still did not hit the casino yet. Okay, I did not in the last 2 years I've been. But it is so exciting there, and the RE/MAX agents are so wonderful, and it's such a family that, I went. And then I came home, and I had surgery on the 9th of March for my port and all, and the 10th I started chemo.
And that's when you started feeling really crummy. Like you kind of went off the radar for a little bit, right?
Yeah, this chemo kicked my little tushy. Yeah.
I remember seeing you a bunch and then not seeing you much at all, and just knowing that you came by the office on occasion to say hello. Did you continue to do real estate back then, or?
I tried at the beginning, but I just couldn't. I literally lost 29 pounds in 2.5 weeks. This time I went opposite, so I was trying to fight with myself to get myself going. So it took me a while to get motivated to pick up a phone. I'm not gonna lie, so it took me a while.
Yeah. Didn't a group of people come and do?
Listen,
did anybody do stuff for you while you went through? Didn't my daughter come and spread some mulch at your house? She still talks about that. What happened?
It was so cute. I'm one that doesn't take help.
Right.
Okay, and I had to get schooled from one of our other fabulous agents out there, and he said, "Listen to me. It's time you let us help you, because you've helped everyone else and they feel like they want to help you, and this is how they can do it. If it's mulch in your yard or if it's food or whatever, let us help, because that makes us feel like we're doing something." And when he said it that way, I'm kind of like, all right, I get it, because that's how I am. I want to help people and, and make them feel better. So yes, so one day they came and did my yard, and your lovely wife and children and everybody. It was fabulous that was there, and it meant a lot. I mean, I barely could get off the couch, and when I got the text who was in my yard, I got out the couch and went outside and saw everyone. It was great.
Yeah, it was almost like I remember that day, it was almost like forced help. Like we all just said, you know what, she doesn't want us to do it. Her husband, bless his heart, doesn't want us to do it. We're packing our stuff. I was watching the text chain of, I've got the mulch, I've got the mower. I remember Ty Bellamy and Harmony Bellamy and their kids and the whole nine. And, there's a lesson there. It's not always easy to receive help. It's really not. Even when you super need it, right? For somebody like you, have you always been that way? Like you're the helper, not the helped?
Yes, unfortunately, I guess. Yeah. It's hard. I mean, it's hard because I always want to be the one to help you, make you feel better. I don't want anyone, trying to help me, I guess. So, but I finally learned that it's okay. That it's all right to do that, to reach out and get the love. Because let me tell you, the love that day was amazing. And every day, I don't mean just that day, but it was amazing. It was just amazing.
Yeah, I am terrible at receiving. I mean, I like gifts. I mean, who doesn't like gifts? But when somebody has to help me like that, it is, it's humbling. But it's been interesting to watch because I'm just a spectator in this journey that you're going through, and I think that's that value. The reason I wanted to have you so much on the show is because here we have a living example of something we can learn from. And I'm not trying to be selfish. This is your life, right? But I know how you've been around everyone, and you give back so much. I mean, you just talked about doing walks. I mean, you couldn't even get off the couch in February, and here we are all the way almost in October. You're going to do a walk to benefit some other people, but you've also been doing a bunch of other stuff to help people. Talk to me about what, I mean, I've seen you do videos. There was a party for you that you stood up and shared quite a bit of testimony about what you've been going through. Why are you such a helper, even now?
I feel blessed. I guess let's just leave it at that. I'm blessed that I'm here. I know God has this. I know I have a mouth, as I told you earlier, and I really feel that He's allowed me on this journey because He knows I'm going to share it, and He knows that there's so many people out there, when they hear the C word, heavens forbid, they go crawl in the corner and they give up on life, and they give up on their family, they give up on everything. And I need everyone to know, stop it. It's not the end of the world. I mean, when you're sitting across from someone that's telling you, if you live 3 months, you're going to be lucky, and you don't claw in the corner, that's a good thing. And I'm just saying, and it's okay to be that. You don't have to go, okay, I only have 3 months, I'm going to go home and fall apart now. No, enjoy your 3 months if that's all it is, or your 6 months, or your year, and see who you can help and who you can inspire to get off the couch. My saying is, put your feet on the floor and go out the door right now. That's my new saying, because there are so many people out there that they don't even have cancer. They have other issues. They think their life's falling apart, they're divorced, or they're sick, or numerous things are happening to them, and they don't know how to handle it. And I guess I need them to understand that it's okay to get upset. I get that. But you know what? You're still here, and you still have so much to give to people, and you have so much to make them feel better. And when I told you earlier, when I can talk to someone and make them maybe calmer about what they're going through, that makes me feel better. And that's what I want to do. That's my whole thing.
Yeah, and you told me today you didn't want to do this on Zoom. You wanted to come do it in person, so that you had to get out of the house and do something. And I appreciate that so much. And, the truth, these are hard things for me to say because, at least it appears I'm healthy, right? I don't have this sentence that you have, or this diagnosis, right? I haven't been where you are. But here's the truth. We're not guaranteed tomorrow, none of us.
No.
And we forget, don't we forget that? You could outlive me. We don't know, right? Nobody knows. And I think it's so valuable to take this and grab what she's saying here. You're leaving, I think all we really all want to do is leave a legacy of some sort. You're doing and saying and being a part of things that will be here long after Pam's body is gone. I mean, I know I'll be talking about you years from now because of the way that you've lived through this. And have there been times, though, that you just wanted to tuck and roll and I'm going to go get in a corner? Or are you really that strong?
No, I don't think it's being that strong. It's just being that I know God's got me, and He wrote the book before I was born. So I can't change that book, so I don't really think it's the strength. It's just the faith, honestly. And I know I'm here for a purpose, and I'm trying to make sure I live that purpose out before He takes me to heaven. That's kind of how I feel right now. So, and it's little stuff. I mean, it's just, as you know, I'm really involved in stuff, and I'm trying really hard to be involved still with real estate people and committees and things like that. I'm on 3 committees now, 3 or 4. So I'm very involved in that. And I ran into someone the other day, and I'd actually been at 2 committee meetings, and then that afternoon, a lovely, lovely attorney in our town was getting an award that I've known from day one. So I wanted to make sure I went, although I was about ready to drop. I wanted to make sure I went. And I got there, and it was funny, because one of the guys that was there I've become friends with now, he pulls me aside, and he goes, I'm going to tell you something. He goes, I felt like crap this morning, and I was like, I'm over this social stuff. He goes, and then I drove up, and I saw you looking smiling and beaming, and I already knew what committees you've been in. And I said, well, get my big boy panties on and get out of this car and go act like a person, So he's not even sick, like you said, but he double thought about, sometimes you're tired and you have to push yourself. And I know sometimes everyone needs a break, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, life is too short, and what if you miss that one thing because you're sitting on your couch? That's all I'm trying to say. Get out, enjoy the world.
I mean, how many times since February have I been a wimp and whined and cried and not one? And here I am. I'm hosting a podcast with this beautiful woman here, and I don't have any tissues in the room. Am I a terrible host? I probably should be fired after this episode. Yeah, I mean, there's so much to learn from where you are. I mean, if you live or own property along the coast of South Carolina, you probably need insurance. We Insure Advocates is a locally owned independent agency with industry-leading service support. Our team of customer-centric agents can explain your coverage options and help you craft an insurance program that fits your needs and budget. Data-driven for better value, people-led for better service. That's the difference of we. For all of your property insurance needs, please find us at weinsureadvocates.com or call us at 843-491-6990. I am literally speechless, which doesn't happen to me very often, to think about the faith that you demonstrate. I mean, I asked you if there's been times where and you're like, nope, because the book's already been written, and I know that my part of it is my part of it, and I can't do anything about this or that. You know, all I can do is my best every single minute. Is there a lesson? I mean, hello, listeners. Are you listening to this? Is there something to learn there? And I want to give you a chance. Like, tell us what you want us to know. Like, what do we need to know watching your story unfold and listening to your words, other than the few things you've said so far? What is the message for you to the world as you sit here today? And you said today wasn't the greatest day, right? Like,
it's not.
It's an emotional day for Pam for some reason.
Yeah.
She said sometimes the chemo plays that trick on you. But what is the message? Tell me or tell us.
I mean, I really honestly think the message is that too many people I'm going to say ignore life. Let's just leave it like they ignore life. They don't understand how special it is. You know, I think we get so caught up on, we have to have a fancy house or a fancy car or the best of that, and I have to give my kids the best. You know what? Kids don't want the fancy house and the fancy car. They just want you, you know, and they want to spend time with you. And I know that, like, when I took my kid on a trip one time and I sat in the mouth of a dinosaur and took a silly picture and everybody's looking at me because I'm acting crazy, I'll always remember that, and he'll always remember that, because those were times we unplugged and were together. You know what I mean? And so I just think sometimes we take life so much for granted, and we push to be so successful at certain things. And I'm not saying you don't be successful at your job. I don't mean that. But I'm just saying you can do it the right way, and you can always help people out. And if you do it the right way, you're going to be rewarded, and you're going to be rewarded inside, you know, not always monetarily. It doesn't always matter, because I'm telling you that money can be gone in a heartbeat and gone. And then what do you have? You know, if you don't have love for each other and are helping each other, you got nothing. And right. I don't want to have nothing. You know, I mean, the love that people have shown me has been millions of dollars. That's all I'm going to say. Incredible. It's just, there would be no money amount that I could put on with the love I've seen lately. So.
Yeah, you have seen a good example of what a community should be about every day, but you've been able to be on the receiving end of a lot of things. But I mean, I watched you. We were sick the other night and could not come to your taco party, your margarita party, your celebration of life is what they called it, right?
Yeah.
But I heard through the grapevine that you stood up at the end and shared some things, or maybe it was at the beginning.
I did.
And you spoke at your own quote unquote celebration of life.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it, Pam.
Let me tell you, and how that started, and, you know, and a shout out to everyone involved in that, but how that started, I ran into someone I used to work with. She came to our golf thing, actually, that y'all had for Barbara and I at the Putt Putt, and she heard about it at a meeting. So she pops in really quick at the end just to say hi, because she hadn't seen me for a while. And we started talking, and someone had passed, and I don't remember who it was. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but I don't remember. And we were talking about the funeral and how sad everyone was. And, you know, and I was like, well, listen, I already told my husband, and she knows my husband. I said, you need to kill him if he doesn't listen to me. I said, I do not want a funeral. I do not want people crying. I do not want people upset. I want people to celebrate life and to celebrate me, have a margarita, have a shot on me, you know, go to the beach, whatever, have a party. But I don't want all the gloom and doom, because you know what? I mean, God's taken me. Why are you going to be sorry? You should be happy because God's taken me home. You know, I said, I don't want that. So she goes home and tells her husband, who knows me too. And she's like, why do we have to wait till she dies to let her know how much we love her? And so that's how it started. And so, yes, I'm going to tell you that was the most amazing thing ever. And my goal is to try to do that for other women now, because it just, you don't know how much you're loved when you're not here. You know what I mean? So it just was really kind of everyone to do that. So yes.
Yeah.
Celebration of life. They got to speak about it. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And, I mean, is it wrong to tell who that was? Can you share her name?
Tina Lombardo started that, and Harmony, I know, jumped in and helped her. She helped put the word out for RE/MAX people, but it was funny because one of my very, very dear friends from years ago, she lives in Hilton Head, they came up and surprised me. They saw it on Facebook and somehow got out of Tina and surprised me. And it was so ironic. She pulls me aside and she goes, wait a minute, I'm confused. I said, what are you confused about? She goes, so those people there, isn't that who used to work with you? And I'm like, yes. Yeah. And she goes, and those people there, isn't that who you work with now? And I'm like, yes. And she goes, oh my gosh, these people really love you. She said, I don't think I've ever seen so many people pull together that aren't in the same community, you know? And I mean, and I guess that's true. And I really realized that night how special both people were. I always knew that. I was picked up in the General Lee. Shout out to Dave Turner. He has the General Lee here, and it was a surprise, and it was fabulous. He said we were the first ones to get to ride in it. So yeah, I felt like a queen that night, and it was really cool. And just like the day when y'all had Elvis come in, I know if you watched my last podcast, I heard the live Elvis in years and years ago, and a couple months ago, I guess, at Recharge. Y'all surprised me with Elvis singing to me, and let me tell you, it's kind of funny. I've been looking back in the last couple of months, and it's been like the most amazing months of my life. Isn't that horrible to say, but it's true. So it's been amazing because I really get to see people that I thought were there, but I didn't know were there, and they've come out of everywhere, and it's been amazing. It's just been amazing.
Yeah, the General Lee, the pictures of that were quite special. I saw you look like you were in your element. Huge shout out to Tina. Tina, you are, in that moment, you were an instrument of God. I mean, you really were, to bring us all together. And if we wouldn't have had the flu in our home, we would have been there. But you just, what a wonderful person you are to do that for her. And, you know, shame on us for allowing you to feel all this love under these circumstances. And listen, listeners, this might be the message of the whole thing, the few minutes. Is there someone in your life that you need to show this love to? Before, I listened to something this morning, like life change happens during tragedy or during inspiration. You can either wait for the tragedy or the bad news in your life, like Pam certainly has gotten, it appears, although she's outliving the bad news, which I love. So it's tragedy or inspiration. And maybe this moment today can inspire you to love someone like Pam has been loved. I mean, why not pick a friend and have a celebration of life for a healthy friend? I mean,
exactly.
What in the world's wrong with that? Or pick somebody up in the General Lee, or just whatever.
Exactly. Well, I got to tell you, it was funny because all these committees I have done, I met some amazing people that have been in our work, but I haven't really got to know them that well. And one of them, it was amazing. It was Rada, and she's with the Women's Council and all, and she just got back from Italy. We were talking on the phone, and she's like, oh, I just love you. I've loved your story. She goes, I just want to take you to lunch. And so, so what you just said is exactly what we need to do. She took me to lunch. We sat there for probably 2+ hours. We had a great conversation. We got to know each other, things I would have never known about her. We joked and we laughed and we talked about things. And I'm just saying that was so special to me. And I think that's kind of what I'm talking about. I have kind of been reflecting on the last few months, and I've noticed that things like that have been happening to me. So I know God's getting me ready, so that's okay. But I'm just saying, all these things are so cool. Why wait, like you said, until you don't have that opportunity? Because you just have no clue. I mean, you could walk out there right now and something happened to you. So, and then you're going to go, why didn't I, take that person lunch? Or why didn't I call them? Or why didn't we talk about that when I saw they were kind of down that day? Why didn't I hug them? Because I'm one of those people that walk in with a smile on your face always and smile at someone and make them feel better, because it's important. I mean, it's important.
Yeah. I mean, you are an example. I mean, shame on us for not living the way that we should day to day. I know that there are people that I need to write a handwritten note to. There's, my kids deserve a hug every single night before bed. There is no competition. Like here, that was a perfect example, because here you came to us a few years ago, and it was a weird circumstance, to say the least. We won't go into it, but man, that was what needed to happen. Right. And then both of those groups got together and celebrated your life. Isn't that amazing?
Ironic, wasn't it?
Very ironic.
It was ironic. but God knew what he was doing when he put me here. I
Yeah.
mean, at the time, I thought, what are you doing to me? You know, because I was in shock, like you said, but God knew. Like I said, that book was wrote, he knew, and this is where I needed to be. But that didn't mean I had to forget about my other family, because they certainly didn't forget about me.
No, 100%.
And that's what's really special.
Yeah, when she walked in that day to the putt-putt, the first thing I thought was how proud I was that she was secure enough in herself to come in that room full of people she knew but didn't know, under weird circumstances, and celebrate you. It said a lot about how she feels about you, and she's a really cool, special person for that, and I appreciate that. So you have defied odds already, right? I mean, let's be honest. They've been trying to tell you what was going to happen for a year more, right?
Yeah.
Than that. 2019 is when it all started.
2019 is when it started.
And here we are in 2023. 5 or 6 months ago, almost a year ago, you and I sat and talked about this. And I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. So why, I think we should plan to get together in 6 more months and do another episode.
I do too. It's funny because one of our other agents, Lori, she said that because I'm like, well, if I'm here, I'll go to R4. She goes, oh, stop that. You're going to be here. You're going to R4, which is in March this year, just so everybody knows, not February. So yeah, it was funny because she's like, oh, we're already planning. We're gonna get R4 together. I'm like, okay, So yeah.
We should get you a ticket.
Yeah.
We should go ahead and buy your registration and go and sign you up.
And that way I have to go, right? I have to be here.
Yeah, I mean, you've defied odds already. And, you were just telling me about real estate. Like, it stopped for a minute, but you just had a closing. You got another pending. And, I mean, there are people out there in this market that don't have that. And here you are just rolling along. You drove all the way down here to Garden City to see me today. And is there anything that we can do for you? And this is a silly question to ask you because you won't ever ask for anything. But what do you need, Pam? Anything?
Honestly, I just need everyone to get the word out to each other and care about each other. Honestly, if someone's hurting, give them a call. Listen, we get so busy in life, and I'm one too. I'm horrible. Like, I have this list of letters I want to write to everyone. I haven't done it yet. I mean, I'm not good at it either. But I'm just saying, we get so wrapped up in life, we forget to stop and see who's standing in front of us and listen to them and talk to them and give them a hug, because I'm just telling you, you just don't know, and so if everyone, for me, if they could just do that would be great. Celebrate who's around you in that life and do something special. Like you said, send them a card, send them a text. Does it take 2 minutes to send a text? No, just say, hey, I'm thinking of you today. I hope you're doing great, and it's going to change you, I promise, but it's going to change them more, and that means the world to me.
Yeah, well, thank you for your example. I admire you so much. I celebrate you so much. And it's interesting, when I first met you, didn't know any of this. I really didn't. I knew I'd seen a few posts that you'd been through something, but to watch you go through this, and I know you hate the attention, but I want the listeners to recognize that you only have, this is a rare opportunity that we have to listen to someone who's lived past their expiration date. I mean, twice or 3 times.
This one was really, this one was kind of set in stone, I guess.
I mean, none of us, well, some of my listeners, and I'm sure you can relate to Pam, those of you that have been there, and God bless you too, but most of us haven't been there. And to hear the words that she's saying, I want you to recognize that she's focusing. You would think when you get those words that you should focus on yourself, but you have totally focused, because you're the one with the expiration date, they say, that's been put in. Although we all have one that we don't even know, and we live like we don't have one.
That's correct.
Gosh, am I learning something today on today's podcast? Yes, I am. But for you to focus on others in that time it says a lot about the human spirit. It says a lot about your faith. And I want you guys to reach out to Pam. Like, I think everybody should take Pam to lunch from now till eternity. And I think that we're going to go ahead and sign you up for R4. I'm going to go ahead and schedule to have you on the podcast, in 6 months from now. You're a beautiful, beautiful person. And I have literally, I haven't said this about very many people, but you've changed my life, like the way that I think, the way that I will love going forward, the way that I will give. And that's priceless to me. So thank you. And I appreciate you being on Rise Up in Real Estate.
Thank you for having me again.
30 minutes with you goes by like that.
I know. That's why I got to do it 6 months again, right?
Absolutely. There's more to the story.
I will be here.
That's right. You will. You will.
That's why it was funny because my cancer doctor, my breast doctor, when he saw me in May, I guess it was, he was in tears, or April. He was in tears and upset and thought he'd missed something and, all that stuff. And didn't think he'd ever see me again. I mean, just bluntly, he said it. He hugged me goodbye, kissed me, loved me on me because he's such a sweetheart. And when I saw him a month ago, he came in beaming through the door. He was like, "Oh my God, you're here, and he was so excited. And so everything changed, obviously, with him, but I guess that's how bad I was, which I didn't, think about. So that's a good thing. So yes, I told him I would see him again. I was supposed to see him again in November. I said, I'll definitely be here in November. Yeah.
100%.
And I'll be here in March. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks for being here, Pam. We love you very much.
Thank you.
Should see her. She's rocking the head wrap, walking back. She looked beautiful. Everybody was commenting how beautiful you are, but thank you for your living example of what it means to be a faithful human. And I'm excited for your journey from here because you're doing it the right way. That's all I can say. You're doing it the right way. Yeah, we love you, Pam.
Love you guys.
Well, hey, that's a wrap, folks. Thank you so much for listening to Rise Up in Real Estate. If you liked hanging out with us today, please find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Rise Up in Real Estate. Also, follow us right now on your favorite podcast host to hear more episodes. We really appreciate you spending some of your time with us. And until next time, let's do each other a favor and all help each other rise up.